Testing, testing. Testing, 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 testing. It's weird, man. There's some, I swear, since using this my PS5, brand new PS5, there's something wrong. I mean, I thought Share Factory on the PS4 was shit. Like, you know, it was inconsistent, things happen that shouldn't happen, but then other times they did happen. Or didn't, do you know what I mean? Like the inconsistency. Not just that. Before, when I used to design videos, make videos using Share Factory on PS4, at the very beginning, when the transition from a non-volume clip to like a screenshot that's just a black screenshot so that you can transition from black a fade through to the actual video, what would happen is every now and then when I uploaded the video, I would then, obviously I checked it back and started and played it from that point to listen to it, to hear how it would, the sound it would make if it would transition with the volume starting off on nothing to then obviously 100% of what the actual clip was, so it would obviously, like how when you're in a cinema and it builds, when it starts from nothing and goes, you know, like that transition from, do you know what I mean? Not a sudden pop or crackle or like a boost of the volume when it starts, which is what happens on this. More often than not, that's what happens. And I'm not able to record that because I have to put I have to make a track like I'm doing now, where I'm recording my voice as a track on the clip, which is fucking retarded. Because, I mean, what also I don't get is, for example, currently, I'm recording a track, which is my voice, in order to record my voice on a video, which the video should be playing volume, like audio of the actual clip, which it's not, and I've just changed it from 100% to 66%, or I just, you know, and now it's not actually playing the sound at all while I'm talking. So again, it's so stupid and broken, and the controller's flashing at me because it's running out of battery, even though the battery life on it is, I'm going to say, hold on, when did I start it? I had it on for, the thing is as well, like, fair enough, it's been on for the duration of time it's been on, which is a very long time, but it's been on sitting there, not doing anything, just been on. And yet if I had that on my PS4 controller, if I was just sitting there, it wouldn't just cane the battery like crazy. Not to the extent it has on this one. Anyway, yeah, I can complain and complain and complain. I always knew if I bought a PS5 it'd be garbage, and the only reason I've had to buy a PS5 is, everyone can probably already know, they're forcing people, because my PS4 is basically, it was shit before because it was just, I mean, let's face it, we don't have to get into this. But yeah, I'm really disappointed. I knew I was going to be disappointed, but I'm still even more disappointed because Share Factory is cancer. I mean, literal cancer. I thought it was bad on the PS4, but I kind of got used to it. You kind of get used to it when you use it after years and years and years and years and years. And I'm going to have to get used to this as well. But again, it's like the only positive, literally the only positive, is that the quality, for some reason it's telling me it's in 4K. I don't think it is, because my system is recording in 2K, like my TV is 2K, so it can't run 4K, it can't do it, unless it's boosting it somehow. I doubt that very much. So it's just done it there, where that clip started. It might not even when it actually is, when I actually export it by saving the video and uploading it, it probably won't be there, or it might be there, because before on PS4 when I was making a video, I wouldn't hear it, and yet when I uploaded it, maybe 7 times out of 10 it wouldn't be there, whereas the other 3 times it would be. Or every now and then, like I'd upload 10 videos and then the 11th video it would do it. And people probably know what I'm talking about, because it's so inconsistent and you just don't know. It's like you can just pick, it's like a fart in the breeze. You don't know whether you're going to smell it or not, you know. I don't know, like I say, the analog sticks are great on the controllers. So the analog sticks are a lot more definition in them. Like you can, you know, a lot more, like just better design. They're better designed. But the thing is, you should expect everything to be upgraded. I should expect Share Factory on the PS5 if either to be the same or better. The same with everything. As time's gone by and they've made new systems, new things, they should either learn from what they've had before and improve it, or know that it works the way it works and have it the same. It just boggles my mind, you know. Like I say, the only benefit I can see from my personal experience so far, after having a PlayStation for less than 24 hours, is a PlayStation 5, sorry, for maybe just over 24 hours, is the quality. You know, and when I say quality, I don't mean overall quality. Yeah, sure, overall quality as well, but I don't mean in the system, and I mean visually. Like obviously, but it's what I've done is, when I downloaded the games that I've had in my digital library, you can download them as PS4 versions or PS5 versions. Some of them you cannot do that, like the stuff like Alan Wake, and there's quite a few you can't do that with, which is a shame, because I would have loved to have replayed Alan Wake on like an improved graphical. That would have been actually really tight. That would have been absolutely, just the thought of that brings joy to my senses and my mind palace. But shame that can't happen. But when I played Diablo 2, it's a PS5 version, and I know it is a PS5 version because I was getting the trophies for the PS5 version of it, which is cool. But the main thing that I'm happy about, literally probably the only thing I'm actually happy about, is I can actually play Diablo 2. I can play Diablo 2 and it runs and it's smooth. It does have a few hiccups, it's not perfect. I noticed a few little hiccups, which basically were non-existent, you know, like let's say 1% out of 99%, which is nothing, but you know, you notice things. But no, all in all, very happy. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. Plus, I'm also, I mean, this is beside the point, but I'm just come down with something. I honestly feel like absolute shit. So I'm not going to be playing with my friend Rhea that I normally do, or anyone. I'm just going to be chilling on my own, because yeah, I feel like absolute crap. So it's almost like an excuse for me to just do my own thing for a little bit. But yeah, all in all, 5 out of 10. There was actually something else I wanted to mention. The quality of the audio that's being recorded sounds like absolute shit. Now, I've thought about this for about 10 minutes, but what I'm thinking is it might be the quality of the microphone, because I'm using a Apple the Apple earphones from an Apple phone, but not with the port that's an Apple, you know, like you get the ports that are like, what do they call them, I can't remember what they call them. My mind's drawing a blank, but you know, like, adapts to like any type of, because obviously my phone that I have isn't an Apple phone now, long story, but it's got the, you know, the standard plug for an audio mic thing, what's it, that's just the normal jack, that's the one with the jack, the standard jack. But it was fine on the PS4, so again, I don't know why, there's some sort of conflict going on, something happening where I'm just speaking, but if I increase my tone like that, the spike in the, like, the audio, it's like it can't handle it doesn't like it, and it like sounds really crackly and horrible. It sounds actually awful. But I recorded my audio and played it in the beginning, as you heard, and it did sound, I wouldn't say decent, but it sounded acceptable, let's say that. But I mean, the quality, that shouldn't make any difference whether or not I'm using a Sony, you know, a Sony mic or whatever or not. It shouldn't. It will probably affect the controller, and it's probably doing something internally in a negative way, I would imagine. You know, because all these things are, if it's not a Sony endorsed product, it has an effect. Like with charging, if you use charging devices or USB wired link things, whatever, if you use it that's not a Sony device or whatever, it has some sort of negative effect, like it doesn't charge properly or whatever the situation. Yeah, so that's another negative. I mean, I could genuinely, I think this is just the beginning of the negative things I'm going to find. You know, again, nothing's perfect. I'm not saying that. I don't expect it to be. But I expect there to be improvements. And sure, there are a lot of improvements. But I mean, basic things shouldn't be causing me to be like, you know, oh, okay, my good, you know, like me to be fucking upset by it. Sure, I'm easily triggered. I understand that. You know, I'm not going to say that. I'll say I'm not. But I have legitimate, you know, I'm being legitimate. I'm just making observations and pointing out things, you know. So all in all, like I say, 5 out of 10. That's how I feel about it. It's just average. It's just average. It should be better. It should be far improved. And like I say, the only improvement I've noticed, other than, you know, yeah, sure, the controller is more responsive, blah blah, but these things should be basic. I shouldn't be going, oh yeah, that's a benefit, that's a good thing. No, these things should be standard. I shouldn't be going, oh yeah, that's good. Sure, I'm pointing out the fact, this is what I'm saying, I'm pointing out things that are good, I'm pointing out things that are negative, you know. So, positive and negative, basically, you know, and like I say, as I explained to my friend a long time ago, I don't speak to him anymore, I haven't spoken to him for years and years and years. Games and fundamentals aren't purely about the graphics and the visual aesthetics. It's about just all in all, just the basic concepts, the standards, just simple standards, you know. And if you're playing a game that the gameplay's crap, you know, there are more negatives than positives, but you can say, oh, well, it's graphically really good, it's good, look at it, it's beautiful, it's blah 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 blah. Yeah, well, that don't make a game, I'm sorry. And that's, people who have half a brain can fucking understand that. You know, average people can understand that. That's just, logically, you can understand that, surely. You know, I mean, this is why there's so many people out there saying, oh, these games are really good, because they're getting paid by the companies to say positive things. Not be honest. Basically, that's it. Honesty nowadays has just gone completely out the fucking window. Honesty, truth, decency, I'm not going to say normality, because what is normal? You know, I understand that. The principle of normal is, you know, it's a person's understanding of what normal is. And what is normal? How do people define normal? But the basics, you know, and I mean, I'm sort of going on a bit, but, you know, people are just idiots nowadays. It seems to be more and more the case that as a nice little tenor phrase I like to quote, the lunatics are running the asylum, or were, they're not anymore, because now good old the the Orange Oracle. Good old D Trump. Good old, and I'm a Trump supporter. I'll tell you what, he's the only hope the West has, considering I live in Britain and our country is basically totalitarian as fuck. You know, I'm gonna stop ranting. I'm just gonna stop going on now. But yeah, disappointing. Just, I mean, again, like I say, all in all, it's just, yeah, it is what it is. You know, I'm just glad that, like I say, I can play Diablo 2 now, because my system just couldn't put up with it before. Might have a bit of that running at some point, but yeah, I think as well, the concept of making videos, even before on a PS4, with all the issues that had, that Share Factory had, and all the garbage, it wasn't like you got used to it, and it got to the point where it was kind of like acceptable, in the sense of like, you know, it was fine, you know, it was manageable, it was, you know, you could put up with it. But with this, I'm going to be, yeah, I don't know, I'm on the fence, really. I really am. Because if I want to make videos, I'm going to need to use the new Share Factory. And when I say the new Share Factory, I mean Share Factory Studio. Because obviously on the PS4 it's just called Share Factory, and this is called Share Factory Studio. Yeah. So, toilet speak over. You know, I mean, I've got plenty to say, but I'm kind of at the point now where I just feel like I'm a broken record, you know. It's obvious. Things don't get better, they don't improve, they just get worse, you know. And it's all well and good, you can say, oh, well, there's so many good things, there's all these things, and people can probably point out lots of things that the PS5 can do that the PS4 cannot do. But that should be standard. The PS5 should be leaps and bounds ahead of the PS4. But in my opinion, I'm not seeing it. Not really. But again, you know, I'm not a very social, you know, I don't use a lot of social aspects, because I don't have many friends. I don't need friends, I don't care about them. You know, I don't care about having friends. Anyway, it's all relative, everything's relative, and the way I see it is, it just doesn't, I'm not in awe with PS5. There's nowhere near worth the money it costs to pay for it, to buy it. It's not worth it. It's not worth that, this kind of money. I just hope it lasts me, you know, 3 years at least, 4 years, you know, it should. I shouldn't have any issues, but I know for a fact I'm going to have issues. Because if you don't expect issues and issues happen, you're going to get, you know, you're going to be like, if you expect issues and they happen, at least you're then, you know, somewhat, not prepared, but you're mentally, you know, you've accepted that there's going to be issues, problems or whatever, and so when they happen you can kind of go, okay, right, I knew this was going to happen. So, but yeah, like I say, I'm not, I honestly, I don't, over the years, in regards to like the PlayStation, then the PlayStation 2, PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, at least you can, you know, it warrants the amount you've paid, because, you know, the improvements and stuff like that. But from PS4 to PS5, honestly, nah. You know, I think, just all in all, I'm not a fan of what they're doing, especially, you know, the games companies, the console designers, you know, Sony, Microsoft. I don't think, you know, again, Microsoft have done a lot better, and I used to shit on them like crazy, but what with Sony taking away the games that come free with each month membership, they're taking that away, I heard. Like, what the fuck, man? They're basically forcing people who have a PS4 to get a PS5, or just again, I mean, I have a feeling in the future I'm probably going to stop playing the PS5 and go back to PS4. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. Maybe not though, because the way things are, it's like there's not that same joy that I used to get. Obviously, you know, my age is a factor, the fact that I'm older, but you know, the games back when were more, again, they were designed with the idea of the game in mind and the people and stuff, not money. You know, so the whole premise has changed. You know, now all companies care about is money. They don't care about whether a game is any good, whether or not the community is any good, whether or not people, you know, how people feel about the community, unless it's something they're forced to do. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's no longer the love of the games and the design of the games and the people and the, you know, how people are with them. It's not. It's lost its, you know, its vigor. It's lost its truth. You know, it's lost a fundamentally huge part of what it was about. You know, which is such a shame. You know, it really is. Everything is just becoming a business. And I understand, you know, making games, it's a business, you know, they're in business because they're in business, the reason why. But for businesses to be in business to make money, it shouldn't be about the making money. Sure, that should be part of it, but it shouldn't be solely about making money. It should be about integrity. It should be about fucking integrity, Jesus. I just don't have hope for, you know, it's not like I don't have hope or worries me, I mean, I don't have hope for the gaming, you know, the franchise of gaming and the future of gaming. It's all just bullshit. Everything eventually does turn to shit. Nothing good lasts forever. I know this is really depressing and apologies for that, but yeah, nothing good lasts. Yeah, anyway, yeah, it's a shame. It's such a shame. I think as well, as you get older, it's harder to find positive in things, but when you do find the positive, it's much more, it seems much more significant, it seems to impact you more, but it's much more fleeting.